G'day everybody, Nick Dingle here again with another Microsoft Excel 2013 video. This time around we're looking at formulas again, but the errors that can occur, the tools you can use to fix them, and finally how you view the formulas and not just the result. So first of all, if you want to download this particular spreadsheet, I've included it in the description of the video, so just go down, first link, that'll give you this file and you can walk along the video with me. Now I haven't made huge text, I've simply zoomed in massively to 205%. Okay, just so it's a little bit easier for you to see what's going on here. Now, first of all, let's walk through this spreadsheet. I've got a number of items listed on the left on the A column. I've got the cost of those items in the B column, the markup percentage that I'm going to increase the values by in the C column, and then finally, we're going to calculate the final cost in the D column. So, first thing you would have noticed is this big fat error sitting right here. So first of all, it looks a little bit weird. It says div/0. which most of you might know is the divide by zero error. You get that when you try to divide something by zero itself, okay? Because zero is mathematically impossible, it's an infinite number, so you get an error instead of an actual result, okay? Second thing is this little green arrow in the corner. What that is, that's Excel assuming there's an error here and trying to tell you all about it. Now, sometimes you don't get big fat text in here, but you do get a little green arrow. An example of which is in some of my spreadsheets, I have a lot of numbers in a big table, and half of the numbers are used in one formula, and the other half of the numbers are used in another formula, okay? And Excel actually says, I am causing an error in my formula because I'm only using half the numbers and not all of them in a single formula. So don't always assume that Excel is correct in telling you there's an error that's occurring. Use a little bit of judgment, try and figure out if it's actually an error, or you can ignore it, okay? Now let's have a look at some of the things that Excel can use to help you fix your errors if it detects one. So you may notice this little exclamation mark that appears. It tells you what error is actually occurring with a little bit more detail. It says the formula used is dividing by zero or an empty cell. So if you're simply dividing by an empty cell, that's a pretty easy fix. Put something in the cell. But I'm dividing by zero, aren't I? But before I fix it, let's have a look at some of the things you can do. So you've got help on this error. If you click on here, it's going to open the help dialog to the divide by zero error help page with a little bit more information of what's going on there. We've got show calculation steps, which is pretty cool. We'll go through that in a sec. The ignore error, if you think this is a good one, you can click on that button. I do it all the time for my errors because, well, I'm not causing an error, but you really need to double check your formula and be vigilant that you are calculating the correct value, okay? Don't just assume that Microsoft Excel is an idiot and you're the smart one, okay? Just double check what you're doing first. You've got to edit in formula bar, which if you click, just allows you to edit the formula. And then you've got error checking options, which are the options for the entire program for all the error checking. So if you would like to change some of the errors, such as maybe you don't want the calculation to happen, you can actually click manual and then you can recalculate manually. It's entirely up to you. So I would suggest have a look at some of these things if you like them, but I've never ever had to change them. Okay, so I'm just going to close it. So to fix this error, before we fix the error, let's have a look at the calculation steps. This is incredibly handy if you've got a huge formula with lots of values and you need to see step by step what's going on. So first of all, I'm just going to click evaluate and restart, okay? And what it does is it starts from the very beginning at the formula, okay? You'll see a little underline under B3. What this means is that's what's about to be calculated. So it's about to grab the value from B3 and jam it inside the formula. So if I click step in, you'll see it's gone to B3 and reached for the value. Don't worry about the dollar signs. That's going to be a future video we'll talk about. So this is the value it's got. If I click step out, it puts the value in place of B3. And it'll do the same thing for C3. Grab the value, step out, and this is what it's about to calculate. So if I hit it, that's the error that is produced, okay? And we can restart and step in and out again if you'd like to. So that's really handy. I said again, if you've got a really, really long formula and you don't know what's going on, then you simply can step in and out until you see what value, when it's calculated. That's the cool thing because you can see step by step what's calculated first, second, third, and so forth, and then what the result is finally, okay? So I'm just going to close this. It's an easy fix. I'm just going to change the markup value to 10, and the error is fixed. Okay. Now, if let's say you are typing a formula, so I'm going to put an equals and I'm about to calculate the pencils markup. So if I click on B4, okay, I put divide, and then I accidentally hit enter, or I forget to click on C4 or something and I hit enter, you get this dialog, okay? It says, we found a typo in your formula. We're going to correct it for you to equals B4. Okay, so it's dropped off the divisor, or not a divisor, the division symbol. Okay, do you want to accept this correction? Let's say I don't want to, okay, because that's not what I want. I don't want to just put 1.2 there. I want to mark it up. So if I go no, it says, nah, I'm not putting the formula in because it's not going to work. I can't calculate this, okay? So it says the formula is incomplete. For example, you've left a plus symbol on the end. So the two solutions are, we put something on the other side of the divide, or we take the divide off. So really, the simple solution is we put C4 on the other side of the division. So if I go OK, see, it doesn't actually proceed. It goes back to editing my formula. So I can put the cursor on this side, click on C4, and finish it off. All right, so there's two types of errors there, okay? The third type of error is the one that Excel can't find, but you have to find. It's your calculation errors. And for programmers, it's known as a logic error because it doesn't crash. It's not a syntax error, which we just had where we had a division on the end with no thing we're dividing by. Okay, the logic error is we're just stuffing up the calculation because either we're dumb or we just type something incorrectly. So really, if we look at this, 20 cents marked up by 20% is not 0.01. That doesn't even make sense. Okay, that is not even the right calculation. It's not marking it up, it's marking it down to 1 cent. Okay, so we need to fix that as well. Now, before we fix these logic errors, because each one of these is a logic error, we're going to fix up the formatting, okay? I want these to be dollars, I want these to be percentages, and again, these to be dollars as well. So if I highlight all these guys, okay, I'm just going to simply click on the dollar up here. And final error that I'm going to talk about here is these hashes that appear, or pound signs, whatever you prefer to call them. Now, you can see that the value hasn't gone anywhere. It's still 25,000, but we can't see the actual number in there. The reason is because the contents of this cell are too big to be displayed in the width of this column. It's being cut off, and so to fix that, Excel just puts in pounds. If I quickly just stretch it out a little bit, that fixes that problem. Okay, we could have done a double click to do an auto size. That would have been fine. Next, let's change these to percentages. And there's the next problem. Okay, you'll see that it starts at 20, 10, 35, and 15. And when I click on the percentage, it increases it by 100. So it times it by 100. It adds on 2 zeros on the end of every number. And we don't want that. We don't want the markup to be 2,000%, 1,000%. We want it to be 20%. So to fix that, you simply only have to change back to the numbers that they were. All right. To get around that, let's say we wanted 20 to be in there. Whoop, let me just put it over here. Let's say I wanted 20 to be there, but I want to click percentage and not have this issue occur. The way to get around that is to write 0.2. Okay. Technically, 0.2 is actually 20%. So if I click percentage now, it's going to fix that and make it 20%. All right, so that's future reference if you wanted to do that. Or you could just make them percentages before you type in the number. Okay. Finally, let's make these dollar signs. And let's have a look at that. That's not even close to correct. If you take 20 cents, increase it by 20%, it doesn't become a dollar. That does not make sense. Now, the actual issue occurs in my calculation. It's my logic error. So you're not going to use a division if you want to mark something up. First of all, to calculate 20%, you take the original value and you times it by 20%. Okay, so let's change this to a times and hit enter. We're close. So what I've just done there is I've calculated 20% of 20 cents. All right, to increase it so it's 24 cents, okay, I'm simply going to add back on B2. So what I mean by that, we're calculating the 20% here with this little formula, and then I want to add the original value to calculate the markup. Okay, and that's simply it. So we've got B2 times C2 plus B2. All right, now to fill in the rest of these, I can simply go in here and edit these formulas, or I can use the fill down that I showed in the previous video. So if I click and drag this fill down, you'll see it actually applies the formula to this row as well. All the cell references have moved down with the fill down. So I've filled it down one row. It's actually moved each of the cell references down as well. okay, which is bloody handy because if I fill down the rest of it, it's going to apply to each row perfectly. Okay, and that's pretty much the spreadsheet finished. Okay, but before we go, I want to quickly show you how do you view formulas instead of just the result that they produce. This is really handy for me as a teacher because I don't want students just to type in the answer. I actually want to know that they're using formulas and that they're actually using them correctly. Okay, so what I get students to do, I actually get them to screenshot not only this file, okay, or print it for that matter, is I actually get them to print out the formulas as well. Okay, so to do this we need a shortcut, okay, and it's a pretty simple shortcut. The first thing is I need you to look at your keyboard, people. At the top left, next to the 1 key, you've got what's called the tilde key. Now, let me quickly show you what it looks like. If I press Shift and the tilde key, I get this little squiggly line. This is the symbol you're looking for. Every keyboard that's a US keyboard has that symbol in that position, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to just, don't worry about where your cursor is, it doesn't matter. I'm going to hold Control and press that key. And you see it takes all the formatting away, but it also presents the formulas to you, okay? So I actually get the kids to take a screenshot of this as well and submit that with any of their assessments or answers, okay? So I can see not only they're doing the right calculations, but they're doing the right formulas, and they're actually applying what I've taught them, okay? And sometimes this is handy if you want to share your calculations and your formulas with workmates or other people. You can print this off or share this with them as well. Okay, so that's really handy as well. If you press Control and tilde again, it goes back to the normal display. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this video, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to catch you in the next one where we're going to get into a bit the media stuff of Excel, and things are going to get a little bit more interesting. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. I'll see you in the next one.